Hi, guys, and welcome to the Way Too Indiecast, the official podcast of way2indie.com. I'm Bernard, a writer at the website coming to you from California. And joining me today is my favorite partner in crime, another writer on the site, CJ Prince, coming to you from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
You remembered.
I
You
did.
always forget, which
I
I'm
always forget.
surprised. I'm not surprised by that. I mean, it's not exactly a memorable city, but yeah. Hello, fellow listeners. That doesn't
Yeah,
sound
yeah.
awkward.
Hello, fellow listeners. Yeah, we play it loose. We play it fast
Way
and
too
loose.
loose.
Way too loose with me and CJ. We're gonna have fun today on to today's episode. It's our birthday month still here at Way Too Indie. We just turned 5. It was really exciting. We got a lot of features up. Best songs of the decade so far, best films of the decade so far, of course, and a bunch of other great stuff. So please go to the site and check out all that's going on there. It's really busy right now. But for today's episode of the podcast, we're going to be talking about independent film. Who'da thunk it? We're going to be talking about independent movies, small indie movies that you guys should keep your eye on. That CJ and I have seen recently. There's some really good stuff that we've watched, and there's also good stuff coming up later this year, or even in the near future. We're going to be talking about films that we're hotly anticipating for 2015 in the second main segment of our show. But to start things off, we're gonna play a little game because if you were listening to the last episode of the IndieCast, I made a complete fool of myself and lost at a game called a stupid game called Name Five that CJ created, and we're gonna play it again, and CJ's
I,
gonna be he's gonna dole out the
I,
torture
yeah,
this time.
I felt. Please, if you have not listened, please listen to the last episode, which is a fantastic episode, by the way. I'm a huge fan. I think it's probably our best IndieCast episode yet.
Really,
But I know it was. I really liked
I
it.
was just sad because I had gotten all the, okay. So explain the
Anyway,
game, CJ.
yeah.
Let's get in the
The
game. Let's get in
game
the
is
game.
called Name Five. It works like this: I will tell Bernard to name five of something, indie or movie related, in 15 seconds. The goal, usually there's another player. The goal is whoever names five the fastest wins. Bernard was challenged to name five films starring Mark Duplass last episode, and Bernard did so terribly. It was he couldn't even name a movie that he literally reviewed like a
Days
day or
before.
yeah days before. He had a review of Mark Duplass, and he couldn't name that movie. And it was very funny, but and I was like okay, I'm gonna give Bernard a second chance. I
15
don't want
seconds is too short, bro. 15 seconds is
you know
too
what
short.
it's like Family Feud. I mean, how long does Family Feud get?
You picked 15 because it has 5 in it. Why don't you put it to 20 or 25? Because 15 is too short.
Well, it depends on the
Let's
well,
do 15 today. You listeners, you judge for yourself if
Zach
15 seconds is too short.
Zach
Zach did
got
it
in
because he's a whiz. He's ridiculous. And I don't
that's
know
right.
how the fuck he did it.
Disqualified.
He got it with like a millisecond left.
Fine, I could bump it to 20. Okay, so here's the challenge.
No,
I
we're
was
doing
like, okay,
15. We're doing it live.
okay,
Doing
we'll
it
do it
live.
live. I'm gonna get you to name five something, and I picked something that I knew would go right in your wheelhouse, like just right up your alley. So
Oh,
it'd be
don't
easy.
do that because I'm gonna fail again, and then it's gonna look even worse.
Bernard, I believe in you.
I'm gonna
Okay,
fuck
ready?
out.
I have a
Okay.
timer, I have a clock and everything, a stopwatch thing.
Oh.
So I want you to name five Alfred Hitchcock movies. Okay? Ready, set, go.
Psycho, Vertigo, North by Northwest, The Lady Vanishes, uh, Family Plot.
There
That
you
was
go.
what?
12 seconds.
God
12
damn!
seconds. You
Oh,
did
that is
five.
that's embarrassing because I've seen almost all of them.
You basically you did get it though. I mean, it just took a few seconds for Family Plot. I was surprised
I
how
should have
quick
been
you
able
got
to
it.
name 10.
Yeah, but it's name five, not name 10.
And I'm
So
embarrassed that I named Family Plot. Oh God.
probably one of the. I think that was his last movie, right? Oh,
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that people say it's really terrible. I thought Family Plot was okay.
okay. And if you want to, I can give you one more.
Let's do it again.
Okay,
Kick my
here
ass
we
on
go.
this one.
Here we go. I'm gonna give you one.
Okay.
Okay, ready? In 15 seconds, I want you to name five movies that are on the Criterion Collection. And go.
The lady vanishes. Oh no. Uh, Picnic at Hanging Rock, Videodrome, Tokyo Story, last Seven Samurai. I was gonna say
No,
Last Samurai. I was gonna say the Last
no,
Samurai. I said Seven Samurai. I said it in time. I said it
no.
in time.
It was over 15, but you got 4 out of 5 in 15, which is good.
But it was fun. That is Name Five. That's what it's called. Just made the least evocative game title of all time. Name Five.
Honestly, I think it describes the game perfectly.
That is not the point of
Well,
a
I think if you,
title.
yeah, but if
The
you
title
wait,
is to catch attention. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think we'll keep it at Name Five, and I'll just keep hating it, and we'll keep going. But anyways, we're excited, TJ. I'm excited. You're
yes,
excited because today we're playing it straight up. We're straight up just going to talk about independent movies on the Way Too Indiecast. We're gonna have a hardcore Way Too Indiecast this time.
I don't,
For-
I don't know if these terms are sounding the greatest, but yeah, yes, attracting
so
the
let's
wrong
let's
listeners.
start let's start off. CJ, I'm gonna give it to you. You've got a lot of indies that you're excited about after seeing them recently, right?
Yeah, there are a couple I've seen recently, a couple that have just come out that I've seen before, that I really, I'm really like, and I kind of want to, get out there. I think we reviewed most of these on the site. There are a couple of I know that you've seen, and I think one in particular you really love. But the first one I want to get to, which I believe came out right at the end of February, uh, it's reviewed on the site. Ananda reviewed it. If you're listening, Ananda, hello. Um, she loved it. I was very happy. Wild Canaries, which
I've missed that one.
yes, it came out kind of quickly because I actually back in December I did a feature on the best films without distribution of 2014. So films that basically didn't have any release date because no one was actually releasing them. I put Wild Canaries on this list because it wasn't released, and I thought it was a really great movie. It's kind of like a, they say, mumblecore indie movie, but it's crossed with Columbo and The Thin Man and those kinds of old timey mystery. Well, Columbo's not old timey, but Thin Man is like mystery thrillers about this engaged couple living in New York who think that their downstairs neighbor, an old woman who just died, was murdered, and they kind of try and solve the mystery. And it's a really funny, endearing, just really even original film that I think it shows that there's a lot of life. People have used the term mumblecore really negatively over the years, but I think there's a lot of life in that kind of low key indie film. So I want to recommend that, which is available now on VOD, and I believe it's still in theaters, maybe in like New York, out by Sundance Selects. The film originally was distributed. It had no distribution when in December, but then it got picked up very quickly in about January, and then came out in February. So it was a very quick turnaround. But yeah, that's my first pick. Bernard, what about you?
Well, that's fresh in my mind, and I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this movie yet, or if I'm embargoed or not for stuff like shows like this. But I don't think anyone listens to this podcast, so
Did you
we're
sign
gonna.
anything?
I did not sign anything,
Then you're fine.
but okay. Well, yeah, we'll see. Okay, so I just saw yesterday. I saw Ex Machina, by Alex Garland. It's his first time directing. He's a great writer.
Mm-hmm.
Written a lot of significant stuff, and I love the hell out of it, man. It was really great. It's about a young guy he's a coder at a big company, kind of like Google, and he's selected while at work to go to the CEO of the company's kind of secluded estate in some mountain somewhere on Earth. We don't. I don't know if we really find out where it is, but he goes to this estate and he meets up with the CEO, who was played by Oscar Isaac, and he finds out that what he's won this competition to go visit him, and he finds out that what he's really won is an opportunity to participate in an experiment with the world's first AI. So maybe sentient, may not be, in the form of a woman, a very attractive female robot or cyborg, who is played by Alicia
Vikander?
Vikander.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's this really kind of intimate, small scale sci-fi piece where Donald Gleason's character Caleb and the girl robot. They perform the Turing test. He performs the Turing test on her to see whether he can distinguish whether she's a robot or not, even when it's very clear that she is a robot. It's Oscar Isaac's character is that confident that she can be convincing enough that he'll treat her as a human being despite him knowing she's a robot. It's a great movie. I mean, I think a lot of people are going to take it as more intelligent than it actually is. I think people are going to read into it a little too much, I predict. But I thought as a kind of just a really fun genre sci-fi romp, if you will. It was great, man. Just some great actors. I love Domhnall Gleeson. I love Oscar Isaac, and those two together are fantastic. And I Alex Garland. I do want to mention. I wrote the site's first video game piece a while ago that it listed some video games that movie buffs should play. And Alex Garland wrote this game called Enslaved: Odyssey to the West. He did that, and also acting, and that was Andy Serkis. It's this kind of little known game. I mean, it sold pretty well, but it's a fantastic story. One of my favorite video games of the last generation, and Alex Garland did great on that. He did great on Ex Machina as well.
Yeah, didn't Alex Garland, I believe he wrote 28 Days Later, right?
Sure, yeah, he did. He
And
did.
did he write Never Let Me Go?
Yeah, he did. Never Let Me Go,
Yeah, like I think
Sunshine.
Never. Yeah, Sunshine. Obviously, I love the hell out of Sunshine. I think Never Let Me Go is a really underrated movie. I like his work a
That was
lot.
kind of a divisive movie, right? Like some people
Yeah,
really loved it.
some people did not like it much. I thought it was pretty good. Domhnall Gleeson's also in Never Let Me Go. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I guess not as much as say Dustin is our chief, our head
That's
of the
his
site.
second most anticipated, he told me.
Yeah, he's going crazy about wanting to see that movie. He was like so jealous of you that you saw it already. Um, so yeah, I don't know if or when I'll catch. I don't know about the release date. I'm up in Chile, Canada, as you know, so I don't know when it'll be coming here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. So okay, I want to talk about another movie that's been featured on the site with. It actually got our seal of approval, called the Must See Indie, which is a little thing we like to reserve for indie movies that we really love, that are just movies that we want to just kind of preach people like you have to see this. This movie's called Buzzard. It's by Joel Petrakis. This movie I saw a few months ago. It blew me away. It's such an incredible film. I I don't know how to put it in a lot of ways. Basically, I don't I can't think of another movie this year that has made me go through so many emotions within like each individual scene. To give an idea of what it's about, it's about this guy named Marty Jakatansky, and he's played by Joshua Birch, who's this up and coming actor who one of the best performances of the year probably will be by the end of the year still. He is this super low class guy who just it's a review put it a really nice way. They said they're not get rich quick schemes, they're just get less poor quick schemes.
Mm.
He comes up with ways to just cheat people out. The opening sequence, which is brilliant and done entirely in one take and is strictly on his face. He sits down at a meeting with a bank. He's closing his account. Um, One shot, the camera doesn't move. It's just on his face during the entire conversation. The guy closes his account. After he closes it, then Marty says, "Oh, I want to open an account and take advantage of that promo you have where I get $50 for free for opening an account." So he closes his account just to reopen another one so he can take advantage of a promo.
Right.
That's the kind of person. He's just super cheap. He'll buy food and then he'll call the number on the back of the box and complain about the food so he gets coupons in the mail. Like that's the type of stuff he does. And then eventually he works as a temp person at a bank. He's given a bunch of checks that he's told for tiny amounts that he's told to mail to the owners if they can't get a hold of them on the phone, and he just decides to pocket them for himself and cash them in his name. And then he finds out that's actually a terrible thing to do, and it's quite easy to get caught for doing that. So he decides to go on the lam for stealing a couple $100 from a few dozen checks. He literally goes on the lam. Um, he runs for his life. He thinks that people are out to get him. It's such a fascinating, crazy movie because he's this really pathetic guy that is just doing the dumbest things. He's not smart. He's not clever. All of his plans are barely thought through and stupid, and yet you have like sympathy for him throughout. And he's such a despicable person, but you actually get sympathy, and largely it's because of Joshua Burge's performance, and also because the very, let's say, subtle like classist elements there of him being this kind of low class guy fighting against the rich. But then as the film goes on, he gets backed further and further and further into a corner. It takes a really dark turn. And a really surreal turn too. I don't want to give away too much, but it's honestly one of my favorites of the year so far. I'm curious. I wonder if it'll stay on my list by the end of the year, but I really recommend people check that out. Oscilloscope Pictures is releasing it. I know it's in theaters. I'm not sure about whether or not it's on VOD or iTunes now, but that's a movie that, yes, it's absolutely must-see indie material. I don't know. Have you heard of Buzzard, or have you
I
seen?
have, yeah. Well, I am aware of way2indie.com, and I saw that it got our must-see indie
I meant
label.
to ask if you saw it, not if you're aware of it.
Oh, are you aware? Yeah, no, I have not seen it, and I very much look forward to it. I've heard from my buddies in the industry that only good things from them about that movie. Looks fantastic. I love the poster.
Neither of us have seen this, but I want to give a quick mention to the movie Faults as well, which also
Right.
got our must see indie label on the site. I haven't seen it. I'm actually purposely avoiding it. Our editor Dustin saw it last
Why are
year
you avoiding it?
because I want to go in blind. I want to like I'm
Oh,
avoiding information, not
oh, you're
knowing.
avoiding.
Yeah, I'm not avoiding the movie. I'm avoiding knowing about it.
I was like, what?
No. Yeah, so I'm trying to go in not knowing a lot about it. I'm dying to see it because ever since South by Southwest, Dustin's been praising it.
Hmm.
Some other writers on the site have seen it and love it. A lot of high praise for the movie. All I know is it stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who's a really amazing actress.
I interviewed her for way2indie.com. The video's on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
She's incredibly tall. I was not expecting. I was not expecting her to be that tall. There's a photo. You can't see me in the video, but someone took a photo of me interviewing her. I had the microphone in her face, like on the red carpet, and it's ridiculous because I'm like 4 foot nothing, and I'm interviewing this girl, like
She's
7 feet tall. No, she's not that tall, but she had heels on, and I'm just
Yeah,
short.
but she's a great actress, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. But I'll pass the baton over to you now. Is there any other Are there any other films you want to mention?
Yeah, I just saw a really great documentary called Merchants of Doubt by Robert Kenner, who also did Food Inc. That's what he's most famous for. This movie, unlike Food Inc., is Food Inc. was kind of a movie about like, hey, you guys got to do this now. Read your labels. When you buy food and stuff like that. Take action kind of movie. Merchants of Doubt is kind of different. It's a film about these people who go on like CNN, those kind of like those political shows, and they pretend to be scientists when they're really just PR people for like Exxon or something. They pose themselves as scientists when really they're working for a major corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And really, what it's really all about, in the grand scheme of things, it's about how our country's susceptible to being to illusion, right? Like PR people just kind of diverting our attention while they pull shit on us on the side. So, for example, the movie covers back like in the 50s. There was this thing where people's houses or apartments were catching on fire because of lit cigarettes, and they wanted to they designed a cigarette that would extinguish automatically should you leave it on the ground. It's a really great invention. It's amazing. But of course, if this invention went through, the cigarette companies, the tobacco companies would lose a lot of money. So what they did was they hired these guys to go on TV shows and to go do newspaper interviews and say, no, it's not the cigarettes. It's actually our couches. Our couches are what catches fire. So if we fireproof our couches and spray these chemicals on them, these fire retardants, it'll solve the problem. And they actually got away with the shit. Like for years, couches were covered in this fire retardant that started poisoning people, and people started getting sick. Like there's a good chance that someone has a couch that has like flame retardant on it, like that the couch is old enough. So that's just one example of how the United States are dumbasses, and we we kind of fall for these people who say that they're using science to prove a point. I think climate change is another major point that they make in the film.
Hmm.
How we're kind of it's kind of ridiculous to me how people still believe that it's a hoax or something, that climate change is some kind of hoax, but it's these same guys that are feeding us this bullshit, and this film hopefully will lower the susceptibility of people in the United States. I thought it was fascinating, and it was very well done. Not as funny as Food Inc., but still a really captivating movie.
Yeah, I did not. I believe that premiered back at the Toronto Film Fest last year, and I did not catch it there. I won't lie. I'm not particularly interested in seeing it. It's although it's a topic that I think people should know more about. I mean, you're talking about the people who essentially, um, if something doesn't work in a corporation's favor, they will put people on to lie essentially, and as I said, merchants of doubt, people who are their explicit job is to just put doubt into people's minds about something
Right.
that's really actually factual.
They can't say that. Yeah, they can't say tobaccos don't kill people because they have scientific proof that it does. But they can say we don't know if it kills people. They
Yeah,
can
like
say that
just
we there's doubt. We don't know. No one knows if it kills people.
yeah.
They can say that. So yeah, it is. I thought it was really fascinating. I spoke to Mr. Kenner yesterday in San Francisco. Did an interview there that should be going up on the site.
I saw you tweet about it. You said it was a great interview. So
It was a great interview. He was fantastic. He was fantastic. But moving on, CJ, what else you got?
I only have a few more movies I want to give special mention to. One that I particularly liked that it's a really funny comedy that came out a few weeks ago. I think came out on Valentine's Day weekend. What We Do in the Shadows
Hmm.
by Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi, who did Flight of the Conchords. They worked together on Flight of the Conchords. Really, really, really funny vampire mockumentary done in the style like Christopher Guest. It's pretty much it's kind of amazing. It's like the same joke over and over again. It's basically taking vampires and like supernatural and it's putting them in these really like banal situations. Like you're seeing a vampire, levitate around the house so he can vacuum the curtains, like shit like that. But it's funny. Like you would be amazed at how it's so adaptable and it's so versatile and it's really funny. And the cat, I think it's largely because of the cast. And the movie was about 95% improvised. They had a
Mm.
script written, but only the director saw the script. They basically told the actors to just do whatever they want, and they edited. It took them over a year to edit. They had about several hundred hours of footage that they chopped down to 80 something minutes.
Wow.
Um, I like it a lot. And the other one, which I specifically want to bring up because I saw this a while ago. I think I forget when you saw it, but I know that you're a fan. And you have an interview on the site. Please, listeners, go on the site and see the interview for this film. Get the Trial of Vivian Amsalam.
That movie kills me, dude.
It's a really like I remember Toronto Film Fest. Didn't know about it. I was watching trailers and I saw the trailer for this one. I was like, this looks really good. And I was like, I'm just gonna go see it. I found a hole in my schedule. I'm gonna go see it. And yeah, it's a really riveting film, especially considering it takes place in one location. And I don't know if you want. Do you want to talk about the hook of the film? Like, I think it's a really fascinating hook, especially
Yeah,
because it's
man.
based in fact.
Yeah, it's a chamber piece. It takes place in an Israeli court, a rabbinical court, and it involves the titular heroine Vivian. As she requests a divorce from her husband. They're in a failing marriage, and basically the film is shining light on the fact that in Israel, it's if you're gonna apply for a divorce, it's the power is completely in the man's hands. If the woman wants a divorce, which is what Vivian wants, and the man does not want a divorce, then there's no divorce. He has the last say. The woman has no power. It's really eye-opening and disgusting and really infuriating film to watch, but in a good way. Thought-provoking. It's all shot. The way it's shot is really fascinating because the camera only only ever in the place of someone's head. So from one of the characters' point of view in the room. So there are a bunch of characters scattered about this courtroom, and the camera only is placed wherever a character is. And it creates a really interesting sense of space in that film. It's fascinating. I have one more before
Yes.
we move on that I have to mention because I'm a big music fan. My favorite song of all time is God Only Knows by the Beach Boys. I think it's the most beautiful sound I've ever heard. And the film that kind of has something to do with that I'm about to recommend to you guys is Danny Tedesco's documentary, The Wrecking Crew, which is coming out shortly. I think this week actually being released in limited release. It's a documentary about these session musicians called The Wrecking Crew, who played backup instrumentation for like the Beach Boys. There's great footage of them playing on songs like "Good Vibrations," which is just amazing to me. I was freaking out, and I was just geeking out through this whole movie. I went to a screening months ago where Danny Tedesco came out here to the Bay Area and screened it at the San Rafael Smith Film Center, and it was a wonderful night. Had a great time. Love this movie. If you're a music fan, there's a lot of great stuff in there. Simon and Garfunkel, Glenn Campbell's in there, the Monkees, the Beach Boys, like I said. Great stuff, man. I really, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I heard that the documentary was actually made quite a while ago, and they
It
finally
was.
released it now because they raised the music rates on Kickstarter, and the music rates were a couple $1 million.
All the guys in the Wrecking Crew are amazing. Check that out. That's gonna do it, I think, for us talking about independent film on the Way Too Indiecast. That was fun. We should do it more often. Yeah, I think we're about to talk about some more independent films. We're gonna
Yeah.
double your fun after a short break. We'll see you guys soon. You're listening to the Way Too Indiecast, the official podcast of WayTooIndie.com, where you'll find film news, reviews, and interviews with an emphasis on indie. Follow us on Twitter at Way2Indie and like us on Facebook. Hey guys, welcome back to the Way Too Indie cast. We're having fun here. We're talking about some beautiful films, some really great movies. In the last segment, we talked about movies that we've seen that we really enjoyed and that you should seek out. Now we're going to be talking about what we're looking forward to in the near future or later this year. Who knows? Movies that are forthcoming. But CJ, first, why don't you mention what you're about to talk about?
Great segue.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Great
That's,
segue,
why
Bernard.
don't you mention the next thing,
Yes, and
CJ?
now with more of the thing they're about to talk about. It sounds very
Oh, it's
Bert
a work in
Hapley.
progress. It's a work in progress.
Okay, so I am covering the upcoming film festival in New York City called New Directors, New Films. It's run by MoMA, and I believe the Lincoln Center, the Lincoln Center. It's a really interesting film fest that I've kind of become more aware of over the years. Where every year the programmers find a lot of great films from around the world that are from up and coming directors. I think it's directors who are making their first, second, or third feature, and they showcase them. And so I'll be covering the film fest with a couple of the writers on the site. We'll have reviews up all next week and more. We have plenty of films to cover. I want to bring up two that I think are really great. So if you're listening and you're somehow in New York City by around, I think it starts on the 18th of March until the end of March, please go seek out these films and watch them if you can. First one I want to mention is The Fool. It's a Russian film that really surprised me. It's an unfortunate case of timing because it came out same year as Leviathan, which kind of overtook everything last year in terms of it got nominated for an Oscar and all that. Very similar movie, very similar. It's about a plumber, a very low class plumber in a tiny city, who is called to fix a burst pipe in a bathroom in this very low rundown apartment building. Kind of like for the lowest class of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's fixing the pipe, he notices this massive crack in the building. And he looks around, and this crack is going all the way up to the top, and he realizes that the building it's going to collapse. And he does calculations, and he thinks it's going to collapse in the next 24 hours. And there's over 800 people living in this apartment. So he goes at 2 a.m. to meet the mayor and the city council and, like, wake them out of bed and convince them, to evacuate the people. And it really turns into this kind of tragic, devastating, hateful screed against government corruption, and it's very obviously about the Russian government. And it's a film that it really is a really involving drama. The situation is just like pure drama, and it's so immediate. Every second counts. Like at any second, you think this building is going to fall down, and they're trying to figure out a way, and yet the people's selfish motivations are clouding their judgment. Just a really excellent film. And the other one I want to mention is called Violet. It's a directorial debut by a Belgian director. it's just about it's kind of like Paranoid Park. It's about a teenager who witnesses a murder of his best friend. They're in the mall and some kids come up and stab his friend to death. And it's about this kid's kind of coping with what happened, the tragedy. And it's a film that doesn't have a lot of dialogue. It's all about images. It's all about sounds, giving off a specific mood to kind of evoke the kinds of emotions that are, I think, very difficult to express through words. That comes with a tragic situation, especially for like a kid who's just figuring out his life and then gets faced with this kind of huge, cruel tragedy in front of him. Some of the most gorgeous cinematography I've seen in ages. It was shot on digital and partially on 70mm film. Uh,
Wow.
like the final shot, which is about 8 minutes long, was they shot that entirely on 70mm, and it's a stunner. Like, it is such a stunning shot. The cinematographer who shot the film has actually kind of gone on to become our Hollywood. He shot The Drop. He did cinematography for the Drop, which is that Tom Hardy James Gandolfini movie last year. He's also shooting the new John Hillcoat movie. So I'm very happy to see that he's getting a lot of work, because that was the first thing that struck out to me. The cinematography is so gorgeous. So if you can go to a theater and see Violet, go, because it is like just the most ravishing movie just in terms of visuals and sounds I've seen in quite a bit.
Wow.
So that's me on New Directors, New Films. There's about 15 more films that we're going to be covering. There's plenty more to come. Stay tuned on the site for that coverage. But that's me just rushing through New Directors, New Films. That's coming out in the future. What about you, Bernard? What film coming out in the future are you really, really excited to see?
All right, man. I gotta be real with you, dude. A lot of the movies I'm anticipating are not necessarily indie movies.
Uh, like
There's so much hatred.
I'm so apologetic. I'm so apologetic. It sounds like you just told me like you shit the bed, and I'm like, that's fine. It's okay. Like, we'll get through it. Like,
Well, I gotta say, today as we're recording this, it just got fucking announced that Zoolander 2's coming out, dude.
oh yeah, they showed up at the Fashion Week.
At the Valentino show. Ben
Yeah.
Stiller and Owen Wilson.
I'm not gonna knock down anything Zoolander related.
Oh my,
Zoolander is hilarious. Zoolander is one of Terrence Malick's favorite movies.
it's one of mine, man. Like it's. I mean, okay. I'm not gonna say it's one of my favorite movies, but it's one of my favorite comedies for sure.
I
For
mean,
sure.
nothing is ever gonna touch the Wake Me Up Before You Go scene. Like, that is pure. Like, that is just like, I remember
Zoolander has a way.
pure
Like
fun.
Zoolander can make me laugh in a way that I don't think any other movie can make me laugh. Like there are jokes in there that should not work. Like I get what they're doing, and it's like it's not clever. But it's just the way that it's done in that movie just drives me nuts. Like I lose my mind watching that
Like,
movie.
it's one of those movies that I always love, because it's just like, it's a movie that just lets you know, like, it's fine to like something stupid. Like, you
Yeah,
don't have to like a smart movie. It can be incredibly stupid,
and
and
sometimes
it's
it's
so
like
fucking funny.
yeah, it is funny, and it's fun. I watched there was this show, this kind of one off on HBO called Talking Funny. Have you seen it?
Yeah, with Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, so it's Ricky Gervais, Louis C.K., Chris Rock, and Jerry Seinfeld. And there's this point where Ricky Gervais is getting really hot, really fumed about something. He's saying he's complaining that this Louis C.K. saw this musician who's saying "Sitting on a Cock 'Cause I'm Gay" to the tune of "Sitting on the Dock of the Bay" by Otis Redding. And he says, "Sitting on a cock 'cause I'm gay." And then Ricky gets so mad because he's like, "Why is that he thinks we're projecting the irony on that joke because that joke's not funny on its own. We're making it funny by laughing at it." And then Louis C.K. just looks at him. It's like, "Why are you so upset? It's just funny. It's just funny." And that's what
Yeah,
Zoolander is. It's not the best constructed film. Like, it's not this like really clever kind of cerebral humor or anything. It's just fucking funny. And what's the point of thinking about
yeah. Like, I'll bring up if anyone knows, because the podcast, Harris Whittles, who was a writer and executive producer on Parks and Recreation, a bunch of other funny shows, and he was a podcast guest, and he's a hilarious guy. He just died recently. It was a really tragic death, and I'll bring up a quote he said, because this one comedian was talking about how he would talk with him about like when's the appropriate time to use comedy and what's its purpose and all that. And Harris Whittle's motto was just, "Motherfuckers want to laugh." It's like, that's
That's
it.
it.
People
That's
just want
it,
to
man.
laugh. Doesn't matter, doesn't really matter how. It's the dumbest thing. If it makes people laugh, it makes people laugh. Like Zoolander, it's a dumb movie, and I feel even silly like defending it, like, oh, it's a dumb, like, who cares? Like you said, it's just funny. It's a really funny movie. So I hope that the sequel is going to be really. I hope the sequel will be good.
Yeah, who knows, man? I don't
Who knows?
care. We'll see. There's a chance. Well, okay, so let me redeem myself, or at least bring it back home
Yes.
for this episode, the in this hardcore indie episode of the IndieCast, Way Too IndieCast. Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. The
Yes, the
the
Sundance
the
Grand
release
Jury.
date just got moved to June 12th.
That's moved up, isn't it? I thought it was
It's
coming in
moved
July.
up.
Yeah.
It was moved up from July 1st to June 12th.
Very
And
nice.
I'm super excited for this. It's basically did at Sundance what Whiplash did the year before. It's that movie, um, and I'm super excited for the film directed by Alfonso Gomez Rejon.
Yes, because if anyone has watched American Horror Story, he's done some of the most remarkable work on TV I have seen ever, directing wise. I am super excited. Like he just did a film. His debut was last year. It was The Town That Dreaded Sundown, the remake, which was not that great. I was just happy to see him get like a project like this that became really successful, because I think he's a fantastic director, and I think, I don't know, maybe it's just he needs the right material, and this is the case. So I don't know how are you a fan of? I guess you're a fan of Alfonso.
I wouldn't say I'm a fan of Gomez Rejon's, but because he's only like he hasn't done much, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like, but I am excited for this movie just because I trust a lot of what people have said about it who have seen it, and Whiplash blew me away last year, so I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
this one.
this sounds very typical Sundance movie, like dying kid, a lot of whimsy,
A
lot of
lot of
fun
whimsy.
stuff, and it that kind of worries me. I'm very hesitant. I'm always hesitant with the Sundance winner every year, because I get burned severely when it's bad. So I'm very cautious going in, but I'm excited because of the director.
Always.
I'm gonna see it regardless, probably. So yeah, that's a good indie pick. I want to bring up one that we've both seen, but it's coming out, and I feel
Ooh.
like we should give it a mention because we both like it. It Follows.
Yes. Yeah.
Dead
Yeah.
Silence. Dead
Yes.
Silence.
Yes.
If anyone doesn't know, I think it's like an American version of a Japanese horror film. It's about what was it like? It's an STD that's more like a demonic curse, where if you catch it through sex, this
Right.
thing that takes the form of any person just starts following you. It follows you in a straight line. It walks towards you at a very slow, steady pace. If it catches up to you, it kills you. You can outrun it, but you can't stop it. So no matter what, it's gonna keep following you. It's gonna keep going. It won't stop. And so yeah, it's basically about this poor girl who has sex with a guy, gets caught with this virus, and tries to find a way to stop it. Right?
Yeah, Micah
Um,
Monroe, who I've
Michael
talked
Morrow.
to
Yeah.
for the side. She's a lovely girl. I think has a big future in the industry. She makes some really good choices like for roles. Like she has good taste, I think.
She's doing a lot of good like genre roles.
Yeah,
She definitely
yeah,
knows.
and she's embracing it. You know, she loves it.
I just want to give a mention because like I'm a huge horror fan. I love when there's a good horror movie that comes out. It's always nice to see people rally behind a good horror movie.
Like the
And
Lazarus Effect,
yeah,
starring
everyone rallied.
Mark Duplass.
Yeah, everyone rallied out of the theater into a different movie. Yes, fun fact: Lazarus Effect is directed by the same person who directed Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
Great
So
film. Great
that's
film.
great. Yeah, really, really. I don't know what studio executive saw that movie and was like, that guy needs to direct a horror movie. But
Well, they get buddy buddy, little drinks flow at a
yeah,
private party in Hollywood, and you have the Lazarus effect.
that's right. But It Follows is I wish it got a big. I wish it would get a bigger release. I think that it would have the potential to be a really big hit.
It's really inventive. I think the cast is great. There are a lot of young, really talented young people in this movie. I thought Lily Sepe, who plays Micah's sister in the movie, one of Micah's sisters, she's great. I thought she was like underrated, or probably not. I don't know if she's underrated, but people probably like kind of look over her performance. But she did a great job. It is scary, like it's actually legitimately scary movie, uh, which is great to see. Following Lazarus Effect, there's a lot of good stuff coming out this year. Minions is probably my most anticipated movie of 2015.
Which one?
This is the spin-off of
Oh,
the
right,
of
right, right.
Despicable Me.
Yes.
It's a very sophisticated. No, I'm joking. Minions, I'm not looking forward to. I don't know. I haven't seen
I
Despicable.
love how it has this all-star cast. It's like people walk up. It's like, hey, you want to earn a bunch of money to just like make gibberish and speak in tongues, and they're like, hell yeah.
Diversion, diversion right there.
Diversion, yeah.
I would say Kumiko's coming out soon.
Oh yes, Kumiko. Which
Yeah.
I actually got to see Kumiko already. I saw it last fall. It was at the Toronto After Dark Film Festival. I won't lie, I did not like the movie. I thought it was really, really, really boring.
Son of a
I know
bitch.
you hate that word, but it's just
Why do you always use that? I hate the word boring, and CJ uses the word boring every time we record a podcast.
I'm
I'm
just
joking.
my
You
inner
can use whatever you
jackass is
want.
coming out.
I'll just hate you. It's fine.
Yes, just you know what, just do what everyone does. Just bottle it up and let it out through passive aggressive comments over the years until you
Yeah.
die.
I'm gonna take a
That's
deep
how we do
breath. I'm gonna count to 10, and you go on talk about how Kumiko sucks.
I thought Kumiko, it just did not interest me in the slightest. I thought it was just trying so hard to be this very weird, enigmatic film, and it just was not there at all. It took so long to get to a place where it was going, and I knew exactly where it was going, and I was just like, okay, you're gonna
You
do
did
this.
not know exactly where that movie
Oh, I
was
knew
going.
exactly where it was
Fuck
gonna go.
off. You did not know where that movie was
Did you
going.
see Kumiko yet?
I've seen Kumiko. Yeah.
Oh, you see? Okay, well, I can't get into it for spoilers' sake.
You're out of your mind.
I saw it
You're
with like
out of
four
your
other
mind.
people. I saw it with like four other people, and we all turned to each other like, "What are people seeing in this movie?" Like we thought it was like 2 hours long. It was like 80 minutes. It just dragged for us. It's one of those movies like I don't get it. I that's all I'll say. I'll just say I
Yeah,
don't
you
get it.
don't get it. You don't get it,
Everyone else
bro.
can go and enjoy it.
Kumiko the Treasure Hunter. I recommend. I'm looking forward to showing this to my friends. I love the movie. It's got a really. It's about this Japanese woman who's kind of this office worker who hates her job, and she sees a VHS copy of Fargo, and thinks it's. I don't know. Okay, so she thinks it's real. The bag of money. Is it a box of money?
The suitcase of
The
money that Steve
suitcase of
Buscemi
money,
left.
excuse me, that Steve Buscemi buries under a kind of rinky-dink fence in Fargo, and so she thinks this is real on this tape like this. And she flies to America and goes to Fargo to look for this
Mm-hmm.
case of money. And it's just a strange movie, and I love the tone. We talked about how uncomfortable humor was that Buzzard
Yeah,
we were
Buzzard
talking
discomfort,
yeah
discomfort comedy.
discomfort comedy. Kumiko does it really well. There are moments where Kumiko's just staring. It's kind of unclear whether she's mentally challenged or not, but there are moments where she's staring at people, and at first you laugh because it's very awkward and you're wondering what Kumiko's thinking. She's kind of not good in social situations, but then you stare at her and she's still looking at this person quizzically, and you kind of start to go, oh, is this funny? I'm not sure if this is funny. And then it's funny again, and I think it's a really well done movie. I actually have a video interview with the director David Zellner on our YouTube channel from a year ago. I interviewed him a year ago for this movie. It's a great conversation. You guys should look it up there. I'd say give it a chance. I think it's weird enough that you should, even if you don't like it in the end. I don't know if
Yeah.
you'll hate yourself for giving it a chance.
I should be clear. I'm probably in the very, very small minority on this because I know
I don't know, man. I've
it's
heard
had a
people who
lot
didn't
of
like it.
it's had a lot of good reviews and hype out of Sundance when it premiered last
I
year.
think it's a beautiful movie. Like it's gorgeous. It's really slick.
You can't fault Rinko Kikuchi. I love her. I'm so
Yeah,
happy that she got a starring role in something again because she's a great actress and I would love to see more of her. So just
wonderful
showcasing
performance.
great performance. Yep. I think we have a review coming out this week or next.
Yeah, and I'll
Well,
probably repost my year-old interview with
hey,
Mr. Zellner.
I'm going to be doing that. I interviewed the director of Backcountry, Adam McDonald, which is a
Okay.
Canadian film I saw at TIFF last year, and it was one of the biggest, probably the biggest surprise I saw at TIFF. It's a straight up survival thriller about this couple from the city that goes out for a weekend camping in the woods. The boyfriend wants to propose to his girlfriend, and he lived there as a kid, and she's like a city lawyer or whatever. She doesn't know anything about the woods, and he basically wants to take her to the spot, and naturally they get lost and things go bad and then worse and worse and worse, and it's one of those movies that it's really 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 I was surprised at the amount of dread it builds up, and then once it actually finally just lets it rip, like it gets really tough to watch, and has an amazing lead performance by Missy Peregrine. I interviewed the director, as I say, interviewed the director last year. I'm gonna have that up. We're gonna have a review up for its theatrical and VOD release on March 20th.
I gotta say, people who are listening to this, rewind. CJ's segue into Backcountry is the slickest, smoothest segue I've ever heard in my life. Listen to that. You didn't even know it happened. How did we end up here?
I don't know. Do you want to just throw out any other things you're looking forward to, or no?
No, I mean, Age of Ultron. I'm very much looking forward to. I know you're not.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. Shut up. Yeah. So, Age of Ultron. I'm actually looking forward to Marvel's Netflix series more. Daredevil and Luke Cage and AKA Jessica Jones and Iron Fist.
Yes,
Those
yes, yes.
those are some of my favorite comic book characters. I think those movies or those series on Netflix are going to appeal to the indie crowd more than any other Marvel franchise because those movies are super dark, super violent. Very grounded. There's not a lot of superheroing going on. It's all just normal people mostly. And I love the character of Matt Murdock as Daredevil. I'm just looking forward to all that stuff. Oh man, but we gotta go. CJ, this is awesome. Where can we find you on social media?
Yes, you can find me constantly just killing it on Twitter. Uh,
Yeah, such a badass.
Killing it on Twitter. No, my
Hamilton.
Twitter handle, my Twitter handle is at CJ underscore Prin. It's CJ underscore PRIN. So yeah, follow me on Twitter, or send me a tweet to like, hey, you suck, or hey, you rule, and I'll probably say something snarky.
Yeah, follow CJ on Twitter, and you'll find the best Twitter personality on on Twitter. And but if
Wow.
if you need someone else to follow, you can follow me, BJ underscore Boo. You can also like us on Facebook, Way Too Indie, and you can find us on Twitter at Way Too Indie. Check out our YouTube channel, subscribe to that. Our YouTube channel is going to be growing shortly. I think we're going to be adding a lot of cool stuff on there, a lot of exciting things happening. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Spotify. We're on Spotify now. It's always a lot of fun. See you later.